Has science disproved God? Have you ever heard a story like this? When people didn't know things, they used to say, God does that. And now, in the modern world, science has come along and we've explained all those things. So we don't need God anymore. Science has explained everything that God used to. So God's like Santa or the Tooth Fairy. It's nice for kids to believe in him, but we grow out of that. As a society, we've grown out of believing that God is there, that we need him. But science isn't just a lot of answers to questions, a lot of facts. It's a method. Do you remember at school learning the scientific method? If you don't, I'll try and quickly recap. My recap will centre around two words. Science is about what depends and what changes. You need to understand depending and changing. So imagine a TV. If you turn it off at the wall, then the screen will go black because the TV depends on the power supply. You change the switch, the TV changes. And it's not just pressing buttons. Take a plant. Does it depend on water? Does it depend on soil? Does it depend on sunshine? We'll change the amount of water or sunshine or soil, and the plant will change because it depends on those things. We depend on food and water and people and lots of other things. So we change. And so we can even understand ourselves with science. But in order to investigate something with science, we need to change something to measure something. So we can't investigate God with science. We can't test him scientifically. We can never know whether God exists or not with science. We can't know if God is actually there unless God reveals himself. Imagine you wanted to introduce yourself to someone. What would you say? Now imagine I put you in front of a squirrel and ask you to introduce yourself to a squirrel, or an ant. You have to explain yourself to an ant. An ant could be crawling on your hand and not even know that you exist. How would you possibly help it to understand you? Well, I think the best way might be to become an ant yourself, to introduce yourself in terms an ant understands. And this is actually what Jesus says. Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen God. His claim is this: God has become a person to introduce himself to people. And Jesus claims he is God. He is the person, which is crazy. In fact, when people say that they're God, we literally, rightly call them crazy. However, I think there's a very good reason we should still listen to Jesus, even though this seems crazy. Now bear with me. Why can't we test God with science? He doesn't depend on anything. And so he doesn't change. So Jesus doesn't change. And Jesus said this: those who come to me, I will never reject them. Often, life lets us down. Even our friends will let us down. They depend on things, they change. Whereas if you turn to God, you depend on God, he won't let you down, ever. Jesus' kindness doesn't depend on what we have to offer him. His kindness is free of charge for all who turn to him. And the only one, therefore, who knows in the whole universe exactly what we need and we can depend on for those needs is God. And so this is really good news. It's set me personally free from chasing things like popularity and even friendships and even success and pleasures and holidays, chasing things that will always change and aren't dependable. Jesus' very good news is that even though God doesn't change, he still won't reject anyone that turns to him. So if you think it's worth reading about Jesus, finding more about what he has to say, then you can go to www.yorkcommunitychurch.co.uk/Mark. Mark is a man from the time of Jesus who wrote lots of what Jesus said and did down. And so you can go and read it for yourself. So, science can't tell us what God's like, but Jesus claims that he's revealed God to us.
Thank you for watching that, and I want to invite you to try church online this coming Sunday, on Sunday the 4th of April. And you can find the link by going to our website, yorkcommunitychurch.co.uk/316, and that will have all the links for all the videos and of course my special invitation to see you this Sunday.